Okay, we're going to be talking about box and whisker plots. Box and whisker plots look like a box, and they look like they have whiskers on them, so you can kind of think of a cat when you think of a box and whisker plot. What box and whisker plots are useful for is taking a set of data like this, how many cats I see on my walk in the morning. So maybe each day I record how many cats I see, like 6 and 4 and 9 and so on. And I want to take that data and put it into a form that is easily recognizable. And that's what we want to do with these box and whisker plots, is take this data and put it into a nice little form. So it looks something like this, that we have a box in the middle, and then we have 5 important points that are going to be represented. So we're going to take the low number of that list and put it at 1 point, and then we're going to call this Q1, which is the first quartile. The quartile is kind of like a quarter, right? 4 quarters make $1, so 4 quartiles make up a box and whisker plot. So this is the first quartile. You might say this is Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. But we just kind of stick to using Q1 and Q3. And then we give a special name to the middle. We call it the median. And then there's Q3 and the high. And we also want to come up with a range of values. So what's the low and what's the high? So it goes low to high. And again, that's quartile. So one number we concerned ourselves with when we talked about the vocabulary in statistics is the mean. And we use the mean as sort of a number to represent a whole list that kind of represents something kind of like the middle. And the way we calculate the mean is using the sum of numbers divided by the number of numbers. So you might find the mean of the whole list, or you might find the mean of just a part of the list when we're finding the median. And you'll see that in our example coming up. The median is considered the middle number if there's an odd number of numbers, and it's the mean of the middle two if there's an even number of numbers. So we don't really have a middle number when we have an even number of numbers. So we take the mean of the middle two. So we're going to take those two numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. Then Q1 is the middle number of the lower half, and Q3 is the middle number of the upper half. But there's one little trick to it. If there's an odd number of numbers, it's that middle number. But if there's an even number on the lower half or upper half, you have to take the mean of the middle two again. Then we look at also the minimum or the low. It's the lowest number in the list. And then we look also at the maximum or high, which would be the highest number in the list. So let's jump over and do an example. Okay, so here in this example we have a list of numbers, and this could be like the number of inches of rainfall in a year or something like that. So we want to put this into a box and whisker plot. So the first step is always going to be put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, the next thing I want to do is count up the number of numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there are 15 numbers. So that's nice that it's an odd number, because then I can find that middle number. So that means that there will be 7 above and 7 below and 1 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this will be my middle number. So I'm going to highlight that blue to say this is my median. So my median is 8. Now for the upper half, I'm going to look at these numbers and find the median of the upper half. So this we'll call Q3. So of these 7 numbers, that's another odd number, so I can find the middle one, which would be the 12. So there's 3 below and 3 above. So 12 is my Q3. And then I look at the lower half, and the middle number there would be 6, 3 above and 3 below. And then my low number is 2, and my high number is 14. So 2 and 14. And you can see it right there. Okay, so those are the 5 points that we're interested in building the box and whisker plot. So I'm going to draw out my number line and speed it up. Okay, so I'm going to place these 5 points on the number line, or just off the number line so I can see them a little bit better. But I'm going to put my low at 2, then 6 is my Q1, my median is at 8, and Q3 is at 12, and my high, or maximum, is at 14. So we also call that the minimum and maximum. So I have those 5 points in there. Now I want to build my box. So I'm going to put a little vertical line here and here and here in the 3 middle numbers and draw the box. And then out from the box I'm going to draw the whiskers. Now, what does this represent? This represents that we have a quarter of the numbers are here, which we can see that a quarter of the numbers are in there, and then we hit 6, and then a quarter of the numbers are in here, and then we hit 8, and then a quarter of the numbers are in here, and a quarter of the numbers are in here after we hit 14. So that's what it represents, and I can go ahead and highlight these points. Now I want to look at this list of points. So this is already organized from least to greatest, so I don't have to do that one step that I did above, but now I can just look at the list and find my 5 values. So first I need to figure out how many numbers there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 numbers now. So this is an even number of numbers, so that means I'm going to have to find the mean of the middle 2 because I won't have a middle number. So that means half of 12 is 6. So if I count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 on this side and 6 on that side. So I need to find the mean of the middle 2 numbers, and the mean of the middle 2 numbers is just 7 plus 8 divided by 2. So this would be 15 divided by 2, or 7.5. So 7.5 is my median, and I can represent that by highlighting these 2 numbers. Now Q1 is going to be the middle number on the bottom half. So the bottom half, I split it right there. So there's 6 numbers, and again it's an even number, so I have to find the mean of the middle 2, and the mean of 6 and 6 would just be 6, and I can just prove that to you, but you can kind of think of it as the number that's halfway between the two. So the halfway between 7 and 8 was 7.5. Halfway between 6 and 6 is still 6, right? 12 divided by 2 is still 6. So that is my Q1. And then my Q3, let me just highlight that. I look at the mean of the top, and it just so happens that I lucked out and they were the same number, but so we got 6, and then these 2 are in the middle, so that would be the mean of 12 and 12, which would just be 12. And then my last 2 numbers that I need are the low and the high. So 2 and 14, same as before. And this list. So if I were to draw another box plot, it would be very similar to this one. The only difference, let's see, I think we had all the same numbers except for the median, which changed over a little bit, so it was 7.5 rather than 8. So that's the idea, is coming up with those numbers, and again we find that a quarter of the numbers are on this side, a quarter of the numbers here, a quarter of the numbers here, and a quarter of the numbers here. So that's what the box plot tells you, and you can quickly look at it at a glance and kind of see how the numbers are spread out. Last thing we want to look at is the range, and that's just the distance from the low to the high. So you can think of it as 14 minus 2 in this case, which is 12. And if you forget and you just want to subtract the 2 numbers, you can always take the absolute value, Remember our good friend, the absolute value of the difference of the two. So 2 minus 14, you might get negative 12, and the absolute value of negative 12 is 12. So that's a place where our good old friend, the absolute value, shows up. Up next, we're going to do a comparison of two different box and whisker plots in the next example.